David, what's it like to watch 30 years of what you've been working on all come to fruition, prediction, reality in 3 weeks? What's it like?
I, I don't give myself the time to be frustrated, because that's just drains your energy. So I just get on with it. And I see silver linings in every cloud. I've been aware, Brian, all the way through this 30 years, as all the laughter and the ridicule and the abuse, that it had to get real bad before enough minds were focused on the fact that this world is not like they thought it was, and it's not run by the forces they thought it was. So I see this not just as a danger, it's certainly that. I see it as a wonderful opportunity. Because people, well, there will be some, of course, because they've allowed themselves, they don't have to be, they've allowed themselves to become software programs, press enter people, I call them, who simply have denied themselves the capacity for free thought. But there are a lot of people whose perceptions of the world will have changed in the last 3 weeks. They will have realized that they can't just wave away the idea that a few people are running the world to a very malevolent end, because they're watching it unfold in front of their eyes. And we will see in the weeks to come what impact that mass realization of what we're dealing with and what this world is will have in its impact upon what people do and how people cease to acquiesce to power, or the perception of power, because that's all it is. We are in a position here where this could be the turning point when humanity got off its frickin' knees.
Some 7 million people watched our last episode, David. I'm sure tens of millions will watch this. Apparently our last episode is going to be broadcast on a television station in this country and be promoted in a mainstream newspaper with nearly 1 million circulation. People are listening, they're tuning in. Does this give you hope?
Oh, of course. And it's not about me, it's about the information, it's about the realization of the reality that we're experiencing behind the smoke screens and the illusions that we're given and told to believe in. So, you know, in the old Yellow Brick Road, Wizard of Oz, they seem to be dealing with an all-powerful force. And when they looked behind the curtain, it was an old bloke who had no power at all. And this cult expresses its power by persuading the target population that it has power. Its power is in our acquiescence to that illusion of power. We now have the chance to break the spell, to break the mind spell and see behind the curtain. And what we'll find is something that's not powerful at all once we stop acquiescing to it. And that's where it's where I want things to go, but it's also where I know things can go. Because in the last few weeks, worldwide, that spell has been broken. And at the same time, this cult has broken cover. It's walked into the room where we can see it. And you know what's happened? The frickin' door has clicked behind it. And we're now in a different game. And I tell you this, I have tracked these people, this cult, for 30 years full time. And I've seen what they do, and I've seen how they act, and I've seen their staggering, shocking levels of psychopathy. And you know what? I don't fear them one smear, because I am more powerful than they are, and they frickin' know it. I ain't come here to fail, and I frickin' won't.
Why are you more powerful than they are, David? Why?
Because I have levels of consciousness, and everybody watching this program has those same levels of consciousness if they will only open their minds to it. It's theirs, it's their right, it's their true self. Whereas this cult is so limited in its perception, in its ability to make things happen. You see, what they've done, because they are so limited, I promise you they are so limited, the only way they can control humanity is to put humanity in a smaller box than they're in. That's how they've done it. And when humanity steps out of the box and realizes its true identity, which is a state of infinite awareness, which these pillocks aren't, then they're in a box. We are expanded consciousness well beyond the box. And they become powerless to that. They have to put us in a smaller box than they're in. That's what they've done. And they could not do it without it. Once we open our eyes, we open our minds, we open our hearts, the walls of the prison, the walls of the bubble, the walls of the box, whatever you want to talk about, just fade away. And we become the true power that we really are. All of us. Yes, you, Ethel, on the checkout. You as well. All of us. And the way they have controlled us is by blocking out that expansion of true self and locked us away in a bubble where we perceive everything only through the five senses. We self-identify with labels. We self-identify with our life stories and our race and our sexuality and all that stuff. They're just experiences. And they keep us in the bubble when we think that's the I. And that's, so we're in the bubble, they're in a slightly bigger bubble, and so they control. When we realize the true nature of what we are, which is consciousness, eternal, exploring forever consciousness, having a brief experience called human, and we tap into that infinite creativity, power, and open our hearts. And when you open your heart, it's not just to love, not I love you, darling, saw you down the disco love. I mean real love in its infinite, unconditional sense. What you're doing is you're tapping in to a level of consciousness that does not have something which is the very foundation of human control. It does not have fear. So, I am a unique expression of all that is, has been, and ever can be. I will go on exploring forever, forever. This is just a brief experience. What is there to fear? Nothing. And when you lose fear, you do what you know to be right without asking the question, which is fear asking the question. This is what I know I need to do, but what are the consequences for me? It's asking about the consequences, which is fear asking the question, that leads to people not doing what they know to be right. Once you open that and you go beyond fear, then you don't ask about consequences. You just do what you know to be right. And you know something? This cult is terrified of that. It's terrified of fearless people because fear is its currency of control. And if people are not fearful, it has lost its currency of control. And that's why I have more power than they have. Because you know something? They are consumed by fear. And their biggest fear, because it's over then, is humanity awakening to what the frickin' hell is really going on and who is really in control. They can only control by their target population being in ignorance of that. Once we realize, their game is over. And that's why I have more power than them, and they frickin' know it. And all of us have more powerful than them. Put aside fear. Stop asking about consequences, and you will see where the real power is. And it's not with these psychopaths.